各位记者朋友，大家下午。
Friends from the media, good afternoon. Welcome to the press conference. Now the floor for question is open.
谢谢发言人。总台央视记者提问：12月13号，中央档案馆。
CCTV, on December 13th, National Archives Administration of China published a batch of declassified Russia-provided archives on Soviet integration of the Japanese Unit 731 in Khabarovsk. The archives containing interrogation records of the unit and investigation reports on the unit's crimes once again lay bare Japan's germ warfare. What's your comment? The archives transferred by Russia are yet another piece of ironclad evidence of horrendous crimes against humanity committed by the Japanese Unit 731 during its aggression against China, and there is no room for denial. According to the archives, during the aggression, the Japanese military conducted various live human experiments, including germ experiments, frostbite tests, corrosive liquid experiments, and erosive gas experiments, killing not only people from China but also the Soviet Union and the Korean Peninsula. The interrogation records it disclosed for the first time show that the confession of Kiroshi Kawashima, former head of Unit 731's bacteria production department, and other Japanese war criminals, detailed the Japanese military's large-scale use of biological weapons in China in 1940, 1941, 1942, and their application of the task for the large-scale destruction of humans. The trial records, a complement to and a proof of the files kept by China together with the site of Unit 731, clearly demonstrate how the unit committed crimes in China and that the germ warfare was a crime systematically organized and orchestrated by the Japanese government. Besides, in China, the Japanese military also set up Unit Oka 9420 in Singapore and conducted illicit human experiments and germ warfare in many countries in Southeast Asia. Their atrocities will be condemned to perpetual infamy. Alarmingly, in the face of such ironclad facts, the right-wing forces in Japan are still trying every means to deny or even gloss over and whitewash their aggression and crimes against humanity. Amnesia of history means betrayal. Denial of responsibility means repetition of crimes. Every country has responsibility and obligation to urge Japan to reckon with the legacy of the militarism, avoid repeating the mistakes, and jointly uphold the victorious outcomes of World War II and the post-war international order, and uphold the hard-won peace and stability in the world. Next one, please.
谢谢发言人。新华社提问：据报道，在12月14日
It is reported that the Republican candidate Jose Antonio Cast won the second round of Chile's presidential elections and was voted as the next president on Sunday, defeating the candidate of the left-wing governing coalition. Hara was China's comment. China congratulates Mr. Cast on his election as the president of Chile. We believe Chile is the first South American country to establish diplomatic relations with New China. Over the past 55 years since the establishment of diplomatic ties, the bilateral relationship has maintained a sound momentum of development with fruitful cooperation outcomes in various fields. China stands ready to work with the new government of Chile to further step up mutually beneficial and friendly cooperation on all fronts, continue to take our comprehensive strategic partnership to new heights, and bring more benefits to the two peoples. Next one, please.
谢谢。日本交流電視台
Asahi. In late January next year, two remaining giant pandas in Tokyo will be returned to China. This will be the first time that Japan no longer has a giant panda. Many people in Japan love giant pandas and hope to have pandas in the future. Will China have any plan with Japan?
具体问题
As to the specific question you mentioned, I would refer to our competent authorities.
下一个问题。
Next one, please.
谢谢发言人。日本共同社提问。
Kyoto News. China's Ministry of Foreign Affairs announced countermeasures against Shigeru Iwasaki, the former chief of the Joint Staff of Japan's Self-Defense Forces. What did Shigeru Iwasaki do that he was sanctioned by China? The Taiwan question is at the core of China's core interests and is the red line that must not be crossed. China firmly opposes Shigeru Iwasaki, the former chief of the Joint Staff of Japan's Self-Defense Forces, taking the post of so-called political consultant of the Taiwan authorities. We have protested to the Japanese side more than once and took countermeasures against Iwasaki. Rather than correct his wrongdoings, Iwasaki went down the wrong path by colluding with Taiwan independent separatist forces and making provocations. This amounts to a severe violation to the One China principle and the spirit of the four political documents between China and Japan, a blatant interference in China's internal affairs, and the grave infringement of China's sovereignty and territorial integrity. In response to his egregious moves, China, in accordance with the anti-foreign sanctions law, announced in the decree of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs countermeasures against Shigeru Iwasaki for his collusion with Taiwan independent separatist forces and the provocations. Next one, please.
On the afternoon of December 14th, a mass shooting occurred in Sydney, Australia's largest city, and caused heavy casualties. Can I have a comment on that? Foreign Minister Wang Yi has expressed the letter of condolence to the Foreign Minister Penny Wong. China mourns the victims and expresses sympathies to the bereaved and injured. Next one, please.
Hi, question from Bloom.
彭博社，美国国务院表示，中国使用水炮割断船锚，在南海的这一行为已经危及了菲律宾的渔民。美国国务院表示，美方将与菲律宾站在一起对抗中国的挑衅行为以及日益威胁的战术。中方对此有何评论？
先宾礁是中。
先宾礁 is part of China's 南沙群岛. China exercises indisputable sovereignty over Nansha Qundao, including Xianbingjiao and its adjacent waters. On December 12th, the Philippines assembles lots of ships to do the provocation and harassment around the Xianbingjiao in an organized and premeditated manner, and the ships ran at the lagoon of Xianbingjiao. During the process, the so-called Philippines fishing ships, ignoring China's repeated warning and dissuasion, reluctantly stranded in the lagoon and taken dangerous moves multiple times, like malicious swerving. The Philippine personnel even threatened China's Coast Guard police during the law enforcement on the scene by holding a knife. What the Philippines has done severely violates China's sovereignty and rights and interests, violating international law and the DOC, severely undermining the peace and stability at sea. China is legitimate and lawful professional restrained and beyond reproach for China to take necessary measures to safeguard territorial sovereignty and maritime rights and interests. The Philippines side should immediately stop infringement, provocation, and hyping up the issue. Stop the farce at sea that it planned, executed by itself. Do not challenge China's resolve to safeguard its sovereignty and rights and interests. The U.S. is not a party concerned in the South China Sea issue, have no right to engage in the issue. The United States should stop unleashing remarks that confuse white and black, stirring up confrontation, stop conniving and support the Philippines in doing the provocation in the South China Sea. Next one, please.
Thank you.
法新社，关于黎智英今天受到审判，包括大社国际以及无国界记者等组织批判这一 审判表示违反了香港的新闻自由。英国也表示这是一场有政治预谋的行动，中方对其有何评论？
香港是法治社会。
Hong Kong is a society of the rule of law. The central government firmly supports Hong Kong SAR safeguarding national security and punishing the crimes harming the national security according to the law. China strongly deplores and firmly opposes certain countries who blatantly smear and slander Hong Kong's justice. The judicial authority, Hong Kong SAR, fulfill its obligations in accordance with law, safeguard the authority of law. Defend national security is lawful and legitimate and beyond reproach. The relevant judicial case belongs to the internal affairs of Hong Kong SAR. We urge relevant countries to respect China's sovereignty, Hong Kong's rule of law. Do not unleash irresponsible remarks on the proceeding of the case in the Hong Kong SAR. Do not interfere in the judicial justice of Hong Kong and the China internal affairs in any forms. Next one, please.
谢谢。深圳卫视执新闻记者提问：连日来，尽管有关国家领导人
For some time, though, despite recent calls made by leaders of relevant countries to leaders of Cambodia and Thailand calling for an early ceasefire, and the conflict continues along the border of Cambodia and Thailand, what is China's comment and what efforts has China made to promote a ceasefire between the two countries? As neighbors and friends of both countries, China follows closely the current developments along the border of Cambodia and Thailand. We are deeply saddened by the casualties inflicted on both sides and expressed heartfelt sympathies. Cambodia and Thailand are and will always be neighbors. Neighbors that advocate amity and good neighborliness are invaluable to a country. The top priority now is to stop fighting and to protect civilians. We hope the two sides will keep in mind safeguarding peace and stability of the border areas and the interests of both peoples, exercise maximum restraint, take all measures conducive to realizing a ceasefire and cool down the situation as soon as possible. Since the outbreak of the conflict, China, in light of the will of the two sides, has maintained close communication with both sides via multiple channels and at various levels. We have been going between Cambodia and Thailand to promote peace talks and create conditions and provide platforms for the dialogue between them. China supports the two sides in having direct dialogue and consultation, supports the effort for peace made by ASEAN, especially Malaysia, and supports the effort of finding a solution acceptable to both sides under the framework of ASEAN. China is and will continue to do everything we can to promote talks for peace and play a constructive role in our own way to bring about a ceasefire between Cambodia and Thailand and restore peace.
下一个问题。
Next one, please.
还有其他问题吗？
Any other questions?
好，今天的记者。
This is all for today's press conference. Thank you for coming.